Over a year ago, I made 2 videos listing reasons why Bedrock is awesome and why it's terrible. But since then, a lot has changed. They've improved some things have gotten worse, you get the idea. So I thought it was a good time to update these lists and give you 100 more reasons Bedrock sucks. Now, before we get into the list though, I want to remind everyone that I love Bedrock Edition. This is legitimately my favorite game, and I don't think it sucks at all. This list simply serves as a way for me to bring things to light that I think are frustrating about the game or that I think should get changed. And there isn't anything more frustrating than the pink glitch, except now it's evolved. There's apparently a red glitch, according to some of the people in my Discord, which is the exact same thing, but they're just red instead of pink. And on top of that, there's also a yellow glitch. I have no idea how this happens. I've never gotten this glitch personally, but at this point, I'm the opposite of surprised. But Microsoft did try to add a fix to this type of issue with the use recommended texture limit setting. However, this doesn't seem to work either. When you turn it on, the pink glitch just sticks around. It feels like it's going to be in the game forever, as annoying as it is. But it's not alone. There are so many bugs involving textures or graphics in Bedrock. Like this one from my friend Ice, where he's just minding his business playing with RTX, and he ended up inside of a kaleidoscope or something. I legitimately don't think you could recreate this if you tried. This is an insane bug. And while we're on the topic of RTX, I just hate how when you're using it, your hand gets like stretched out. To be honest, I'd probably use it a lot more if this goofy feature wasn't a part of it. Another common trend with Bedrock bugs though is what I'm gonna call X-ray bugs. For example, looking through glass while it's in your hand lets you just see through a bunch of stuff like water, honey, and even entities. And similarly, water itself has a similar effect on signs in Dragon's Breath, which jump scared me the first time I saw it. And if you ever find yourself in a trial chamber, you guessed it, the slimes can be seen perfectly through some of the copper grates. These definitely take you out of the moment when you see them, but they're not nearly as bad as what's to come. Like this, which I will never unsee again. If you look at the walls and the fences in the Bedrock inventory, they're facing different directions. Why? Who did this? What evil person did this? It's not like this on Java, you know, why? But anyway, there's apparently also a bug where your bed just randomly changes colors. I've never gotten this one. Once again, this is from the Discord, so it may not even be real, but if it is, that's kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie. But something that isn't awesome is this. Do you see it? My arms, like, glitch with my body when they move. And while 99% of you don't care, I do, because I do a lot of videos like this one, where I'm in third person and this bug is terrible to look at. And on a similar note, the skies in custom packs on Bedrock have some of the worst skyboxes of all time. You can just clearly tell it's just a square in the sky, which ruins the point of a sky. Bedrock did recently add the ability to crouch under slabs since my last video, but if you go in third person and do it under a stair, you're now blind, so yeah. Also in the last video, I talked about this multiverse bug where you hallucinate things that aren't actually there. Well, since then, it's somehow gotten worse. I think they fixed this, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments, I guess. But something they did fix was the 0 hearts bug. I'm sure you've seen this somewhere, but there was a good chunk of time where you could have 0 hearts on Bedrock. Now, that by itself wasn't bad. The problem was once you healed back up, you would forever be stuck on 9.5 hearts, which is just like the most troll thing ever. I guess there was also a bug where you could just become a floating head. Never gotten this one once again, but like, how do these even happen? If you join a world or a server that has its own texture pack, like the Hive, you will sometimes leave the world and still see these textures, even though you're not using them anymore. But let's say you don't leave the world and you and a friend go on an elytra adventure. Well, just don't look at your friend because they won't actually be flying. They'll just be standing straight up while they, like, glitchily glide through the air. And for the final texture-related glitch, I left one that kills me a little on the inside. If you're between 2 biomes, the grass texture just hard cuts off. There's no like gradual change in the color. It just instantly changes from biome to biome. And that's all I had for texture-related bugs. Don't get me wrong, there's still a ton more just normal bugs I'm going to talk about, but let's take a little break from that for now. And instead, let's talk about something I love and hate at the same time. The marketplace. I talked a lot about it in last year's video, but I still have some new problems with it that I didn't bring up there. For starters, there's no refund system on the marketplace. And I understand why this is the case, because people would just scam them all the time, but in some cases, I really wish I had this. Like in my most recent video, I bought this horror mod thinking it'd be great, but it ended up being terrible, and I just was left there feeling like an idiot. And while we're on the topic, I really hate how a lot of marketplace content is just ripping off already existing stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some really great stuff on the marketplace, but it's content like this that doesn't help anyone's opinion of it. The prices on the marketplace are also seemingly random. Like, I have no idea why this should be more than this, and I really wish there was more clarity on the logic they use to price stuff. So when I saw the Marketplace Pass, which gives you free stuff every month through a subscription, I thought it could fix this problem, but it didn't. You know, I ended up using it once, then forgetting about it until this video, while it siphons money from my bank account. But in general, I do love the marketplace, because it's been low-key carrying my YouTube channel as of late, but it does also have some unique problems when it comes to content creation. For example, I wish there was a way to sort marketplace content by the number of downloads. Typically, I want to make videos on things that are popular, but I currently have no idea how to gauge what that is from the marketplace. And on the same note, there's also no way on the marketplace to see when something was released. I'd rather make a video on something that's newer and not from like 2018, but there's zero way to tell. Another big issue I have with the marketplace is searching for something that you already own. Since they want to just promote things to you that you don't already have, if you search for something you have bought, you have to scroll for decades to find it. Marketplace maps also love using music, which 80% of the time is completely fine, but there have been occasions where this music ends up being copyrighted and I can't put them in videos, which isn't fun. One of my favorite additions to the marketplace, though, is emotes. There's nothing better than grittying on some guy while you're killing him, but like most things, they also have a few problems. And a big one for me is that emotes are skin-based, not account-based. On Bedrock, the emotes you're able to hotkey to are dependent on your skin, which means every time you change skins, you have to make a new set of emotes. In my opinion, if you just had your set emotes linked to your account instead of a skin, it'd be way better. There was also a bug for the longest time, and it might still be in the game, where your emotes would just reset every time you'd reload the game. So I'd be extremely excited to hit my little boogie on someone just to be completely left down. And that's all I had for the marketplace. Not as much as last year, but still a good bit. So now let's move on to what I'm calling the "why is this in the game" category. And to start us off, you got the Idaho cape. For 2 days, there was this green screen cape called the Idaho cape. I still have no explanation for why this existed, thus warranting the question, why is this in the game? If you open your inventory on Bedrock, it always starts on the first square, even if your mouse isn't anywhere near it. So a lot of the time, I open my inventory and click and just hit something completely across the screen. And for some reason, this square is different on controller. With a mouse, you always start on the helmet square, but on controller, it's the top left of the inventory. Shields on Bedrock just suck in general. That's the main point. I swear, like, half the time I'll have my shield up, but stuff just gets through it anyway. And on top of that, getting your shield shot with a punch bow still knocks you back, even though you have a shield. If you ever fight a skeleton that has a punch bow, which I did, just count your days. You're gonna lose it. And now for number 35, we have ghasts. I don't think I need to say more. If you know, you know. I can't remember if this was on last year's list, but it feels like mobs have reach on Bedrock. Zombies especially can hit me from way further away than they should be allowed to. Skeletons are also a problem though, because they shoot way faster on Bedrock compared to Java. And in combination with your shield barely working, you end up just getting shredded by every skeleton you see. And similarly, Dragon's Breath stays on the floor way longer than it does on Java, which just leads to the most annoying dragon fights of all time. Breaking a boat on Java usually takes 1 or 2 swings, but on Bedrock, I'm here butterfly clicking the boat for 10 seconds to pick it back up. There's also a weird feature where you're able to eat apples despite having full hunger. I think they might have mixed up the apples with the golden apples, because those have some problems of their own. If you chug golden apples on Bedrock, they just stack absorption hearts, which means you can get up to 8 absorption hearts by just eating normal apples and just have a secret advantage in every fight. On Java, if you run super far away from spawn, you can enter the Farlands, which exists on Bedrock, but with ours, you can only go so far before you fall out of the world and die. It isn't that big of a deal because whoever goes out there, but it kind of sucks for someone like me who might make a video involving the Farlands. When I'm exploring, a lot of times I use torches because it gets pretty dark, but one of the most annoying things that happens on Bedrock is accidentally double placing torches. I don't even have a double clicking mouse, it just happens on its own, and it is so annoying. Please fix this. I'm begging. There's also an item in the game called Invisible Bedrock, which is essentially a barrier block, but once you place it, you can't break it. And this item's just so evil. Like, I don't understand why this exists. Why would you ever want this? What would this be used for? Doing things in third person on Bedrock is just harder for no reason. Like this, for example, I'm looking here and perfectly able to place a block here in first person. But then I go in third person and I'm suddenly no longer able to place the block here on the exact same angle. I can't tell you how many times I've died trying to bridge in third person because of this. In last year's 100 good things about Bedrock video, I glazed the game because it had way less grass in the overworld than Java did. Well, since then, they've decided to change that for no reason, and now it's as ugly as Java. I also talked about how achievements are better on Bedrock Edition, but they do still have one big issue. See, on Java, achievements are world-based, meaning every time I make a new world, my completed achievements reset. But on Bedrock, they're account-based, so if you want to complete the achievements again, you have to make a whole new account. And while we're on the topic, does this dude not kind of look like that one dude from the 40s? You know who I'm talking about? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, since the last video though, they also changed the death screen. And overall, I like it a lot. The only thing though is it forces your camera to go in third person when you die, which I'm not a big fan of. Also, for some reason, it's impossible to set your FOV to solid numbers. You're only able to set it to 80.40 or just some random decimal for some reason. And to finally wrap up our why is this in the game category, we have this. You can't open your inventory while in a nether portal. I really wish I could organize my inventory while entering the nether, but I can't. So, game's the game, I guess. And with that, we are officially at the halfway point of the list. So I thought it'd be a good time to remind you to subscribe if you haven't. I make a ton of cool content playing Bedrock Edition, so if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe. Also, I've been working on the 100 Reasons Bedrock is Good list for this year, but I can't lie, I've been struggling to write new ones down. So to give myself some time with that list, I'll only be posting it if this video gets to 10,000 likes. So if you want to see 100 more reasons Bedrock is good, be sure to do that. I also won't be posting that video back to back with this one, so, you know, once again, just giving myself a breather between them. But anyway, enough of that, enough of that sob story stuff. Let's just get back to roasting the game. One of the biggest changes Bedrock has seen in the last year is the complete overhaul of the UI. And while I actually like it for the most part, it definitely has its own problems. For starters, the new menu you use to join friends' worlds has way less information than it did before. Before, it used to say the world name, how many people are in the world, the version, etc., but now it gives you literally nothing. But the main and really only thing I hate about this new UI is the new player list. Firstly, the top of the player list now says players in blank, instead of just the world name like it used to. Like, I guess I see why they did this, but I'm still a hater. I think this is dumb. Just say the world name. But the main reason I hate this new player list is just the lack of info they provide now. Before, you could click on someone's profile to see their skin, their name, that type of information, but now you get none of that, and half the time it doesn't even load. What they do provide you, though, is these completely useless stats that, shocker, are also just lying half the time. Here's a screenshot of the quote-unquote stats from one of my friends, which, if you do the math, is literally impossible to have these stats. I don't think it's possible to travel that many blocks. I don't know about you. Overall, though, I just think this player list looks like a Roblox menu. It's not very cleanly done. It's just kind of a gray rectangle on the side of the screen. But the player list aside, I do have some more complaints about Bedrock's UI in general, not just the updated parts. Like, the server logos are now in 144p or something. I think this server menu would look so much cleaner if those didn't look so terrible. They also changed the FPS slider, so now it goes from 60 FPS to unlimited. Before, it used to go 60, 120, 144 to, you know, like it used to gradually count up, but now it just goes all the way to unlimited. And I don't even, why remove that? It just makes me so mad. They go out of their way to make things worse sometimes. It's so frustrating. And this final one has to be yet again one of the most annoying, pointless things of all time. I have to prepare. This actually gets on my nerves. For some reason, they decided to change the order your skin packs appear in. It used to be in alphabetical order, but, you know, that makes too much sense. The alphabet? But are you a barbarian? Let's just randomly list them now, so you have no idea where anything is. You just have to guess. What? Oh my god. Okay. Okay, I'm done. I'm good. That was fun. You know, wasn't that fun? But, now I think it's time to get back into some of those Bedrock bugs I was talking about before. Somehow on Bedrock, you can lag in a single-player world. If you get hit too many times while the game's lagging, it'll just stack the damage and instantly kill you. Or you can get lagged back and die to fall damage. Or you can just be chilling in the end and then randomly fall out of the world and die. And to put the cherry on top, the game can just randomly freeze for no apparent reason at all. What? Hello? My game just froze. Now, this one might actually be a good thing, but I decided to put it on here anyway. And that would be the glitch where you just don't take fall damage. It's definitely saved my life a few times, but I still wish it wasn't a thing. Making a portal on Bedrock Edition is a lot slower because if you switch items too fast, the game freaks out and gives up on you. Half the time, if you try to make another portal, you'll recreate that clip of the dude just killing himself in lava. There's also a bug where you just can't open any inventories, including chests, your own inventory, just anything. The Bedrockers in the comments know exactly what I'm talking about here. I can't believe I forgot it on the list last year. It's been in the game forever. But if you do end up opening your inventory, there's a good chance you get a ghost slot. Essentially, it shows there's an item in a slot, but there actually isn't, and you just have to, I don't know. You can't really do anything at this point. Now, this one is fixed, but I'm still putting it on the list because it was that annoying. But for the longest time, there was a bug on Bedrock where it would legitimately take, like, 5 minutes for your skins to load in. And there was also a bug where if you had a pack on any world and a friend tried to join, they would just get stuck in this purgatory loading screen. Luckily, this one is fixed too, but like the last one, I just have so much PTSD from this that I put it on the list anyway. And speaking of, there was another menu of death that just randomly happened to me one time I launched the game. Hitting this button does nothing, and you just have to relaunch the game and hope it goes away. Reloading the game, though, could mean that your render distance is now at 96, because that's just on by default now. Yes, that is also a bug, and probably an explanation as to why your game runs like garbage all of a sudden. Or if that doesn't happen, reloading the game could also change your username to Skin standard cust. From what I know, you'll still have the correct username on servers, but on private worlds, you'll still be named skin standard cust. Placing a boat on Bedrock will sometimes do this. If you try to spawn in some slimes with a spawn egg, there's a chance you get the bug where they're only baby slimes. I guess there's also a way to complete achievements without actually doing them. It's from the Discord, once again, so proceed with caution, but this guy posted a clip of him getting the Dragon's Breath achievement despite not even entering the end. If you want to use your own custom skin on Bedrock, well, you might encounter this problem, where you just aren't able to select an arm type. Once again, I'm still shocked at how many of the basic features on Bedrock seemingly have like a 50-50 chance of working. Speaking of, the other day, I got a bug where I just wasn't able to create a world. How does that happen? Do we know? Like, I'm not smart enough to know. How is that a bug? And for the final 2 Bedrock bugs, I saved the most egregious examples. My friend sent me a clip of him playing mobile when all of a sudden his controls just completely changed around mid-game, and if that's not bad enough, it got worse. With these newly changed controls, every player in the game was now magically invisible. I sound like a broken record at this point, but like how? How are those things correlated? Well, if I had to answer that, I'd probably say it has something to do with Microsoft's involvement with Minecraft. And speaking of, that comes with a few more unique problems. On Bedrock, you're essentially relying on Microsoft's services and servers to stay intact so you can play the game. Like, if their servers go down, you're just cooked. You can't play any multiplayer or access anything linked to your account at all, which you pay for, by the way. And even if their servers are fully functional, I've just ran into problems where I can't sign into my account. There's sometimes random fake pop-ups that act like I'm locked out of my account, but then I just reset the game and it acts like nothing happened. On top of that, the Realms servers go down all the time. I don't use Realms, but I hear so many people constantly complaining that Microsoft's Realm support just randomly dies. Now, these next 3 I don't know much about, but I thought I should include them anyway. The first of those being Microsoft dropping VR support for Bedrock. I almost never played VR, but I can't lie, this is still pretty sad. You also can't play Bedrock on a MacBook, even though you can play Java on a MacBook. I understand why this is a thing, because, like, competing companies, but it made me sad that I couldn't play Bedrock during a class. And lastly, you apparently have to use a third-party software in order to use a PlayStation controller on a PC. Microsoft wants you to use that Xbox controller, and it works on me, because that's what I use, but, RIP the PlayStation, people. Now, with all that being said, one addition that Microsoft has brought to Bedrock is the custom live events. And for the most part, I love these, but you guessed it, they also have some issues of their own. Specifically, the MCC event and the 15 Years of Minecraft event were the most egregious. They were extremely laggy. The MCC event ran at a consistent like 12 FPS for me, and I was on a PC. I can't even imagine what the mobile players went through. That must have been rough. Also, when the MCC event ended, they forgot to remove the button to join the event. So like most people, you know, I clicked this button, but doing so crashes your game. So thanks. But in my opinion, the 15 Years of Minecraft event was way worse. Oh my god. Oh, I just forgot about this until I just read it. For some reason, some idiot thought this would be a great sound to constantly play in the background of their event. I like the ambient noise here. Really adds to the environment. Mojang, I am dead serious. Whoever's idea this was, you need to fire them. They are an op or something. Like, they're not in your they're not on your side. But another big problem with the events is the waiting times. There's usually queues to play whatever mini games they offer, which is just really annoying because they take much longer than they realistically should. All right, we are officially in the home stretch. We got 10 reasons left. And for these final 10, I couldn't really find a good place to include them anywhere else in the list, so I miscellaneously left them at the end. And the first one might not even be real, it might just be a skill issue, but I think using the mace on Bedrock is way too difficult. I spent a solid 10 minutes trying to hit a horse one time with it, and I was on the brink of insanity the whole time. This one might also be a skill issue, I don't really know, but whenever I'm doing parkour on Bedrock, I always end up just not getting bounced by slime blocks. Maybe the hitbox is different on Bedrock or something, but like it looks like I'm landing on it, so maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. I also think finding the Nether Fortress on Bedrock is way more difficult than it should be. We don't have the F3 menu like Java does, so we can't just cheat. We have to search for it like raw. And on top of that, we have super dense nether fog that makes it impossible to see like 50 blocks in front of you. Now, normally the Java players would just use a client to remove the nether fog for them, but we don't really have access to that. Most of our quote-unquote clients are just texture packs or they're really sketchy, and I don't trust them. Speaking of Java though, they get a lot of cool things that we don't, like sharpness particles. It seems like such a small thing, but I really do think having sharpness particles adds to PvP, or, you know, just any fight in general. We also don't get the pleasure of looking like a porcupine. When you get shot on Java, the arrow actually pokes out of you, but on Bedrock, we just eat it or something. I don't know. Java also gets the yearly April Fool's updates while we don't on Bedrock. In some cases, we've gotten access to them through the form of like a free marketplace add-on or something, but it's usually like way after April Fool's. In general, though, I feel like there's much less of like a YouTube presence on Bedrock. I think you can understand why I would think that and hope it changes. It does feel like Java like owns much more of the YouTube scene, when in reality, I think it should be more 50-50. And my final reason number 100 as to why Bedrock sucks, is the exact same as last year. It's because no one gives it a shot. I know that's ironic, coming from the guy who just roasted it for forever, but I'm telling you, it's not that bad. I actually love it, which is why I think you should try Bedrock for yourself. But you might need more convincing, because I just listed every reason you shouldn't. So if you want to learn the great things about Bedrock, click the video on screen right now to see last year's 100 reasons you should play Bedrock, or just subscribe and wait for this year's edition to release, assuming we get those likes. All right, let me know if you want to see that.